So I'm Nick Halla. I'm the SVP of International with Impossible Foods. I've been with the company since we started over 10 years ago, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why we exist and then where we are and what we're doing. So the first thing we always come to is meat is absolutely delicious. And so as meat consumption continues to rise globally, this is the key driver. There's now more than 750 billion pounds of meat consumed every year and growing. And it's all driven by that excitement, that transformation as you cook, that versatility, and just the overall deliciousness of meat. Consumers also look for nutrition. So meat is high in protein, calorically dense, brings a lot of satiety and a lot of daily pleasures. You think about the different applications and the different ways that meat is used in cuisine. And so this is, the reasons why that category grows. Now, the challenge behind that is it's very environmentally challenging, environmentally destructive. We've scaled up to a system that now uses about 45% of global land surface, more than 25% of the fresh water each year, more greenhouse gas emissions than the entire transportation industry, and by far the biggest driver of species loss as we continue to increase that land footprint. And this is what our founder, Dr. Patrick Brown, found in 2009 when he went on sabbatical to look at how he can have the biggest impact on the world as a biochemist. And he realized that this is the biggest challenge. But there's also a huge, huge opportunity here. And that's what we're doing at looking at Impossible. The opportunity is that animals aren't made to make food for humans, they're made to live. And so with that, they're very inefficient as production mechanisms for producing meat, fish, and dairy foods. And so with Impossible Foods, our mission is to transform the global food system, reduce the impact of agriculture, reduce the impact of climate change. And the way we do that is make products that outcompete the animal counterparts, more delicious, more nutritious, much more sustainable, with a much smaller footprint. And then we let consumers choose. If we can create products that consumers like better just based on experience, then we have a platform to drive the system change globally that we need to change. So in 2011, we started the company. We started with research, and we said, if we took the standard food approach to formulations, we'd end up with a veggie burger. But from day one, our bar and the only target that we had was the hardcore meat-loving advocates of the world. And so we had to appeal to them. So we spent more than 5 years developing a technology that could understand what actually makes meat, fish, and dairy foods taste so good. Why do they go through those transformations? Then we'd look in the plant-based world and really in all the plant-based world to find tools to match and out-compete and exceed that. And that's led to more than 400 issued and pending patents globally, a team of several hundred researchers mostly in San Francisco that are designing a new food system, a new way to understand this so we can outcompete the animal. And an example of how this has worked is when we started looking at the flavor chemistry, the aroma chemistry of meat, we learned it's extremely complex. There's thousands of molecules that are created as you put a steak, a burger, a pork chop on the grill. And as you cook it, the amino acids, vitamins, fatty acids, simple sugars react with a protein called heme, or a molecule called heme, and a protein called myoglobin that drives that cooking experience and drives that flavor explosion as you run through that. And so as we looked at this, we also learned that, heme proteins, it's hemoglobin in your blood, myoglobin in muscle, but heme proteins are in everything, including plants. And so we use a heme protein called leg hemoglobin that is found in legumes, where that heme group is the same. So all that same flavor chemistry happens just like you have in meat, which gives you that delicious experience and that versatility. And then we look at all the different properties and we map them the same way. So texture, we have soy protein that gives you the base structure and the chew and a very good amino acid balance for human nutrition, very scalable. Sunflower oil and coconut oil for that fattiness, that richness, and then the flavor system between vitamins, minerals, amino acids, heme, as we talked about. And then cellulose potato protein that takes it from soft and malleable to firm as you cook. And that creates a product that can compete head and head with the meat from animals and really is appealing to meat eaters, which I'll get to. So we launched this product in 2016. Since then, we've launched a handful of other platforms. It's the Impossible Burger, Impossible Beef, many people have heard of. In the last year and a half now, we launched Impossible Sausage made from plants, initially with Starbucks and many food service operators in the US and now also in retail. And it's a product that head-on-head versus the animal counterparts on blind taste tests, we win. more meat consumers prefer Impossible over the animal counterpart. Impossible pork from plants, very big for the Asian markets, definitely here in Europe too. And Impossible pork in Hong Kong with Hong Kong and Chinese consumers is preferred in blind taste tests over pork from a pig. And then the most recent platform is Impossible Chicken. And so we launched Impossible Chicken Nuggets a couple months ago in the US in food service and retail. And in food service, Impossible Chicken Nuggets were preferred 74% to 26% over one of the leading chicken nugget brands. So we're getting to that point where the platform and the products are out competing based on flavor and sensory. And that's, I think, a tipping point that you're going to see the expansion of the plant-based industries grow faster and faster from here. Why deliciousness is number one. Nutrient-packed. We talk a lot about nutrition. Pat Brown, our founder, is a MD PhD from Stanford, a head of health and nutrition is MD PhD. So we really take a medical research and medical lens to everything that we do. So we make sure our products are at least as nutritious as the animal products we're replacing. So just as much protein, good amino acid balance for human nutrition. Then you don't have things like cholesterol, hormones, antibiotics, and a lot of things you don't want, while we put all the minerals and vitamins in that people want to get from meat. And then obviously much more sustainable, far better for the environment. Impossible beef uses about 96% less land, 89% less greenhouse gas emissions, and 87% less water than meat from a cow. And so where have we gone? So first 5 years from 2011 to 2016 were research. And then we launched in 2016 with the meat chef of New York City, David Chang. We started there for a very specific reason, to show that this is meat from plants made for meat eaters. This is not a veggie burger. And it worked. So we really handpicked restaurants to tell a story along with us and help build our brand. And as that built, then we started going to the better burger chains like a Red Robin, and then eventually to White Castle, Burger King, Starbucks, and really globally a nationwide scale places through the US. And then end of 2019, we launched in the our retail business, and that's gone from initially 150 stores at the end of 2019 to by end of last year about 17,000, and now well over 20,000 stores across the US and globally. And then internationally, we're just really getting started. We're in Hong Kong, Singapore, Canada end of last year, and then recently we launched the UAE, Australia, and New Zealand, with a lot more coming up. And the transition to plant-based is just getting started. These are some projections. You'll see projections all over the place, and all of them show generally the same thing, that the plant-based industry is going to be growing, and plant-based meat is going to be growing extremely fast over the next several years. And our job is to make this move even faster. It's really across all parts. US, Western Europe are definitely leaders, but Asia Pacific is moving really fast too. And you're seeing more companies and more innovations coming up all the time. And so I think that'll keep going. And meat consumption is going down. A lot of people are looking to reduce their meat consumption, or at least considering. So more than 80% are either reducing in the US or considering that. And I think that's a sign of where the world's going to go, as people are really connecting more towards what we eat and where it comes from. And for Impossible Foods, like I said, the target for us is meat consumers. That's our target market, and 91% of our consumers are meat eaters. So every time somebody has Impossible instead of meat from an animal, there's a real impact on the world. And so that's really what our core is. And so as I wrap up, just invite everybody to join the movement. You'll see a lot of fun things in here. One of the fun things about being in the food world is you can get into pop culture. So you'll see Saturday Night Live, late night TV shows, political pundits. I think it's really fun seeing how fast this is moving and how people are picking it up, because every time somebody does have Impossible and plant-based foods, it does something good for the world, good for you, and be kind of fun and playful at the same time. So with that, I'll wrap up, and just thank you for having me.